brothers and sisters, I was planning on coming with a lesson that would be a knockout. There were so many things that I wanted to say. There were so many things that I wanted to impart to you that I just couldn't come to a definite lesson to bring to you. But one of the things that I did want to say to you as a prelude to what we will talk about today, and that is the unity among ourselves here in this temple. When I came here to this temple, I saw something in this temple that I had not seen in a long time. I saw brotherhood, I saw people working together, and I enjoyed that, and I missed that. We experienced some things the other day that left me here. I felt that old feeling again, that are we going backwards into this whole thing where we end up bickering among ourselves, where we end up fighting among ourselves and accomplishing absolutely nothing? I noticed when we walked in the door, the greeting was not, "Fahami, brother," but the greeting was, "Fahami. Fahami. Fahami. Fahami, Dr. Brian. That's not real. It wasn't real. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, that it was something that I had observed. And maybe it's something that we need to work on. Let's not go backwards. Let's go forward. Let's strive to love each other, love one another, work with one another. This group is too small for this. And I guess it would be the same thing if I had someone in the group that was in opposition with me. I would probably be saying the same thing, or someone saying the same things to me that I'm saying to you today. Love ye one another. Work with each other. This group is too small. The lesson that I finally came to conclusion is entitled The Healing of the Nation. The nation needs to be healed. We need to be healed. The healing performed by those who had become graduates and therefore had attained soul or cosmic consciousness, of whom Istarit, Isis, Hathor, Amun, Thoth, Horus were examples by the use of the highest and most refined forces known to man. There is a force that we have neglected to acknowledge. And it is something that surrounds us all. Some people call it the ethereal. Some people call it the eight. Eight healing. This energy is known as the fire, which the Rasul said he was, and as ineffable light of the students, and as eight fire to the members of the eighth priesthood, spelled A-E-T-H, priesthood. It was known to the middle-aged philosophers and alchemists as the elixir of youth and the philosopher's stone. When used for self-healing, it was called the elixir of youth. When applied in the healing of others, it was the philosopher's stone. Members of many cults in the past and even in the present day have made limited use of a less refined energy, less refined and less potent, because it is a mental force. Mental force. Something of the mind. It's a mental force. We are trying to elevate ourselves to that particular status. Don't go off page, man. As students of Muhammad Islam, it is my duty as your sheikh to remind you of things that I have observed and try to pass these things on to you so that you might see what I see. In reading some of the literature that I have, I found that the job of the Rasul was not always an easy job. You have to stop and think. In 1919, when this thought was introduced, what the opposition was as far as the people were concerned, especially when we got our good Christian brothers who are trying to tell you that this is the way it ought to go. Meaning, the only way that they could possibly tell you the way it should go was the way that they had learned in Christianity. And the Rasul said, I have to graduate these people from that particular thought and bring them into this new thought that I'm trying to introduce them to. Therefore, I thought about using the blackboard there, but I can't write. My spelling, I spell it the way it sounds. And if you saw the way I spelled it, then, you say, oh, this, well, so I elected not to go to the board. But what I wanted to say to you is this. We spoke about in the class over here Wednesday night of ancient Islam as opposed to modern day terminology. And I said that I talked to this one brother, and we were going back and forth in different things that we were talking about. And I said to myself, this brother has no idea what the hell I'm talking about. He got no idea what I'm talking about. Because what I'm talking about is ancient Islam. They have yet to come into this class to see what ancient Islam was being talked about. One of the things that we have to go back and remember, and as I said, I'm speaking right now. If we look at the front of that Muhammad Kitab, the front of the Muhammad Kitab, it says what? The key to all Bibles, which means it's the key to Dr. Ben's Bible, it's the key to Joe Blow's Bible over here, it's the key to this man's Bible over here, it's the key to all the Bible. That is, it is the explanation. An explanation is just like a light in a darkened room. You walk into a darkened room and you can't see, and you bump into things, you walk into things. But when a light is turned on, you see exactly where your opposition is. This book says it is the key to all Bible. Therefore, brothers, I can't get excited when you come along and tell me about Dr. Joel's book and Dr. Henry's book or what have you. It just lets me know that you have not read your book. You have not read your book, or you do not understand your book, and as a result, it is our duty, the leaders here, to try to bring you to the understanding of that book. And the only way that we can do that is through repetition. We have to say the same things over and over again, because you ain't got it, you ain't fully absorbed it yet. So as a result, it has to be said over and over and over again, because, we hate to be repetitious. But it has to be done that way. So, talking to this brother, and I said, I'm talking about ancient Islam. And this brother is telling me about Freemasonry or what have you. And I'm saying, I can't get excited about Freemasonry simply because Freemasonry is a continuation of something that we have already talked about. We taught everybody everything that they know. There are things that in that Muhammad gospel it tells us. It says the God idea. That's a bold statement. The God idea was first introduced by our people. It's a bold statement, but it is a broad statement. It means that everything proceeded from you. Everything came from you. So when we see the Catholic priest walking around with the gold robes and what have you, and it seems like he's more religious than you. He is no more religious to you than you are to him, because you taught him everything that he knows. Therefore, I can't get excited with it. And I wanted to bring this to the membership so you all can see what I'm talking about. This does not mean you're not supposed to strive and go out and find information. But some of the things that you are striving for have already been told to you. They've been told to you. The book says it's no good for us to wonder around. What I wonder about this, and I wonder about this, and I'm not completely convinced. So I have to go someplace else to be convinced. Convinced of the very thing that you've been taught. I had to get that off my chest. This was a secret that Jesus knew by healing the sick, lame, raising the dead from ignorance into the light of understanding, which is indeed a raising of the dead. To a certain extent, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise the dead also. We're trying to raise the dead from the ashes of Christianity and other things that people have taught our people to lead our people away from what they're trying to be. And for us to come along and say, no, brother, that's not it. I'm talking ancient Islam. And you tell me, oh, no, brother, you want to debate with me. Well, I have no debate for you because I know you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Excuse my French. This power, this eighth healing, this power that we're trying to introduce you to let you know that this eighth healing is present. It's present right now. Right now, you have to develop it. You have to learn how to develop it. This power is really the cosmic light, which is a part of the soul and can only be found in the soul of the cosmic sphere. The fires which help to bring the soul to consciousness are the eight fires, A-E-T-H fires. This eight is a transmutation of the highest order of oxygen in conjunction with the spiritual fires within man. All right, we're going to go in there now. It was brought up once before about how to concentrate. And I asked some of the brothers and sisters to take part in that with me in the concentration. I have a lesson we'll go with that on another day. But one of the things about concentration is you have to have your mind focused. You have to have your mind one-pointed. You have to breathe the breath of life. The eight. That's what you're breathing. You're breathing the eighth fire within you. Developing this eighth fire that we're talking about. It's in you right now. It has to be developed. This eight is a transmutation of the highest order of oxygen in conjunction with the spiritual fire within man. It is created by the thinnest of air and breathed into the lungs, then consciously drawn over the nervous system via the creative and regenerative center of the solar plexus or abdominal brain, and directed by the mind to the Great Pyramid Center. All right. Some of you have taken martial arts. And one of the things that they emphasize is breath control. Being able to breathe properly. This same thing applies to us here in this class here. We can do the same thing. The book speaks about it. What we can do as a people if we do it collectively. It tells us collectively. We get to sit down and try to figure out how to do this. We won't waste our time on each other. This movement is too big for this to happen to each other. It is too big for that. There's too much things to be done. I read another lesson where the gentleman, Brother Eo, Uriah, he was the one who drew the wings in the Muhammad gospel. And he said some things that I thought maybe I'd have to come along and tell you about him. When he was talking about, first of all, did you all realize that this movement is not even 100 years old? That this movement won't be 100 years old until 2019. That is the advent of 1919 up until 2019. Now, have we made great strides? It could be, or it could not be. But in this lesson, which was delivered in 1976, he said, in that lesson, you brothers have yet to build a temple for your Rasul. Peace be upon him. But you didn't build temples of other things. You didn't bought cars, you didn't bought houses, you didn't bought women, you didn't bought everything else. But did you do it for your Rasul? You let your Rasul die a pauper. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. But I can imagine that these things may have happened. You do more for the preacher. You do more for the preacher. You buy him a car and send him on a vacation. But you won't do nothing for your own people. And they did it to the Rasul. A great man. An intellectual man. A man of great renown. And it's impossible for me not to acknowledge one of his best students. I was very fortunate. I was very fortunate to come in the midst of one of his best students. And some of the things that I talk about, as I said, are things that come directly from him by way of you. The eighth healing is one of those things. In its highest aspect, 8 is the union of the awakened mind forces and the fire of the illuminated soul. This is what we're trying to resurrect. We're trying to resurrect the illuminated soul, which lives in each and every one of us. But we waste our time bickering with each other. Every circumstantial incident is temporary. Can you repeat that? Every circumstantial incident is temporary or lasting for a time only and used for the time being, not permanent. We have things that are happening in our lives right now. These things are circumstantial, lasting for a time. Next year, next month, I may or may not be talking about these same things. You may not be talking about the same things. The city of St. Louis is changing. Some of the stuff that we see today will be here long after we're gone. So what is it to get excited about? Temporary, lasting for a short time only. The temperature of freezing water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that not true? That is, degrees of heat of a living body is 98.6 degrees. We have a nurse in our midst. Is that not true? The excess of this above, the normal 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit in adults, humans, is considered what? Fever. 98.6 degrees. 98.6 degrees is considered normal, correct? Anything above that is considered fever. All right. How can something so insignificant as that, 2 degrees, go from one extreme into another extreme? What happens? Water freezes at 32 degrees. At 33 degrees, it thaws out. And so the same thing applies to you and me. It's so small and so insignificant. Every circumstantial event or outcome is temporary, lasts for a short time only. My children, you, children are perfect fahamis, which means they are without defect, faultless, and means they and have all of the parts complete. There are three perfect tenses. They are 1, perfect, 2, past, 3, perfect, and future perfect. That's the first part. Y'all let me speak. And I'm going to use my time. I'm going to use my time. It may not let me get up no more. He gave me the stump. That's going to be hard as hell to get me off of it. All right. All right. Now we're going to talk about the conscience. Each and every one of us has a conscience. And the prelude is the word responsibility. Referring back to Mr. Thorndike's dictionary, we find that the word responsibility means obligation. But when we break the word down, we come up with two words. One, response, and the other, ability. Now, response means an answer to a stimulus. Response means an answer to a stimulus. If I poke you in the side, that could be construed as a stimulus and make you jump. Ability means skill or power to perform or accomplish something. Since we have investigated the two words that make up one word, we find that the true meaning is quite different from the first definition of that word. The true meaning of responsibility being the power to perform or accomplish something by the reactions of the body or the mind to the stimulus. To put it simply, hear and obey. Hear and obey, brother. It's not hard. Once you accept the teachings of Professor Paul Nathaniel Johnson, then you accept what he says unequivocally. Did I use the right word? That brother. That word, I still ain't looked that word up that he gave me that day. You know, I'm still working on that word. You know, I don't want to get up here and say the wrong word. For once we know a thing, move forward with it to achieve the truth. But speaking of the truth, sometimes it steps on toes, and sometimes the truth hurts. It is not here to hurt you or me. It is here to help us if we will not fight it. But when you fight it, then the truth becomes an enemy to us and whips us, because by nature we are made to seek the truth. We are people who are made to seek the truth, to go to the root of a thing. And when you fight that, then you are fighting yourself. Therefore, you have become deceived. And when you hear the truth, and then you are too weak to accept it, and begin to fight against the truth, you are fighting against the very nature of yourself. Therefore, you destroy your own self by rebelling against that, or rebelling against what is right. We are here this day as a family in our house of our God. And we know the Hamite man is not going anywhere without the Hamite woman. And the Hamite woman is going nowhere without the Hamite man. Since we need each other, why not let us learn how to get along in peace with each other and stop fighting each other for supremacy? Is that what we're doing? Fighting each other for supremacy? Who's going to lead? Who's going to tell who and what? You know, hey, you told me this. Now you got to do this. Or, you know, I'm the boss. No. Ain't no boss. We realize ain't no boss. because it's told that our women are equal to us. Our women don't walk behind us like 10 paces behind us. Our women walk side by side with us, because women, you'll find out in this lesson, what these women are. Since we need each other, why not let us learn how to get along in peace with each other and stop fighting each other for supremacy? Then we'll learn our roles and play our roles, and then we can find peace and happiness in our roles. For a house divided against itself cannot stand. The Hamitic woman is not a lazy, filthy woman, and we are not lazy, filthy men. But what is happening today is that we are trying to build this movement. We are trying to build something for the good of our people. But we are not taking into consideration the roots of Christianity and slavery and what they have done to twist us. And we are not wise enough to get around the effects of both, which are still with us today. Even now, the black man is doing the same thing that was done in slavery. We love to have them, our women, but we don't like to take care of them. We love to make her pregnant, but we don't love the responsibility of supporting what you make. It's time for all of us to reform. I know y'all don't want to hear this. You don't want to hear this. But somebody got to say it. Somebody got to say it. Somebody said, I know the things that we are saying are very unpopular, but somebody got to say them. So somebody got to say the most unpopular things. I'm one of them today. We love to make her pregnant, but we don't love the responsibility of supporting what we make. It's time for all of us to reform. Our women are very important to us. I should be talking to a whole group of them here today to let you all know exactly how important you are. How important that God gave you the gift to bring forth new life. You put your life on the line every time you bring a child here into this earth. Therefore, we say, if anybody is close to God, women are close to God because they put their life on the line. Our women are very important to us. They are our future. They are creative. They are our movement builders. Each one of you who are not mothers will probably be mothers very soon. Don't be alarmed. It's natural. It's the natural way of life. But remember, everything you put into your child's head represents the future of this movement. I hear that young brother. Excuse me for not being able to pronounce his name. Uncle Sarah. Hey, when I hear him saying that prayer, it means somebody had said something to him and taught it, and he's letting you know, I believe in the Muhammad, the universal spirit. See? Somebody taught him something. And this is inbred in him. Everything you put into your child's head represents the future of this movement. You must have knowledge and understanding when it comes time to bear children. And when you are properly taught, we will have a beautiful movement with great promise for a great future. So let's remember, self-preservation means we are to keep the race as Muhammad from being harmed or from ever being changed again. That is, keep it safe and protected with a divine understanding. And this is our responsibility to the downtrodden children of the sun. There is one desire and one love. That which we truly love, we desire. And that which we truly desire, we will make an effort to attain. To fail in an effort is proof of the lack of love. Soul consciousness is a rhythmic expression of beautiful ideas in the ordinary affairs of life. We must give daily thought to our plan, then live, act, and make every possible effort in harmony with the thought. This is concentration. It is a direction towards the given end. Number one, concentration always results in accumulation, and accumulation is strength and power. Number two, concentration and directions are the cause of effects, and results always follow cause or efforts in perfect harmony. Number three, concentration opens the gate to knowledge and understanding. Knowledge becomes wisdom as a result of experience, and experience is enlightenment, and enlightenment is man's greatest jewel of inheritance. The savage possesses a knowledge of nature equal by a few of the university graduates. Is this not true? Some of them brothers over there in Africa, in the jungle, ain't never been in a hospital before. But yet still they can go outside there and get a herb or something and have you to chew on this or bite on this or step on this or whatever. We talked about this over here one Wednesday night. My grandmother was a healer of something similar to that. She had these herbs and what have you. Mix this up. Take some of this cow chip tea. Eat some of the sweet gum off of a tree. Women, go to that black oak tree out there and do it. Oh. Some of that bark from that black oak tree. Maybe good for you. The jungle lord who does not know that an alphabet exists or that there are colleges and hospitals where the method of testing disease is taught. We're still talking about that. One out in the jungle. We don't have no knowledge of all of these things that we talk about. But he may and frequently does possess a knowledge of simple remedies that will cure when all science fails. Man may be educated in the greatest universities of the day, yet he possesses little wisdom and even less spiritual power. This education may make him an atheist or cause him to be godless, in as far as his soul and his mind are concerned. Multitudes, the great numbers of whom are highly educated or university trained, that left the path leading to spiritual wisdom and understanding as a result of lack of faith, and are groping around the path of materialism, studying the outer forms of all things. This brother telling me, I'm telling him about ancient history. I'm telling him about ancestral worship, and he's telling me about current events. This is why we asked the other day, what is current events basically, and what is ancient history? Ancient history is those things talking about Osiris and Isis and Eel, the originators of all things. All things proceeded from them. These things are the most important things. They have not done anything but borrowed some of the things from you. And they have perfected it. And there are things that we need to perfect from the things that are already taught. But if I'm the first one to teach you the alphabet, how can I get enthused when you start telling me about your alphabet when I'm telling you my people taught you the alphabet in the first place? You had no alphabet. But they never understand the mysteries of the inner forces inherent in nature, and therefore unable to find the source of life, totally powerless to solve the least problem connected with either. They are the ones who walk in darkness and see through dark glasses. Fahamism is a doctrine that is above mere education. What did I say? It is the knowledge of the ways of God and man, which is above the teachings of the outer form of things. We're talking about two different things, brother. We're talking about two different things. When we speak of things here in this movement, we're talking about two different things than what the average good educated brother or some of the others know anything about. You can speak of ancestral worship, but you can't come along and tell them what it is. They'll say, well, George Washington Carver. Oh, hey. No, that's nothing. That's current events. That's what it is. This current event. Unless you are talking about the workings of Isis. What did Isis do? How did Isis bring forth the knowledge that make her so elevated today? How did Amun do what he did to make people conscious of his achievements? These are things that our ancestors taught. These are things that we bring forward when we say we are talking about ancestral worship. You are telling me about what's happening today and lets me know that you have no knowledge of the origin of it. I repeat, Bahamaism is a doctrine that is above mere education. It is the knowledge of the ways of God and man, which is above the teachings of the outer form of things. Therefore, the black students are not taught inner understanding of the mysteries of the inner forces that inherit our nature and are unable to find the source of life, which is the way of God and man. For Muhammad directs the way of God and man towards the cultivation of inner life and gains the wisdom which can only be found in the soul itself. The science of Mohammedanism does not in no sense condemn material science and the art of education, except when these attempt to convert our people into machines and mechanisms propelled by chants and creeds and edits of pseudoscience under the sum authority and superman of materialism, so as to use them to their advantage. In order to follow the teachings of Muhammad, the first step then is to create desire. Until the agent has been aroused in the black race among the young. What did I say? Until the agent has been aroused in the black race among the young. Knowledge of an ancestral background is impossible today. If you're not getting any help from Mr. Our good Christian brother and teaching the things that we're trying to project, the things that we're trying to say is so doggone far, it's almost like I was going to use that blackboard. I was going to use the blackboard, and as I said, I didn't want you all to see that I can't spell. But I was going to try to make a bridge. I was going to try to demonstrate my illustration would have been a bridge. And the illustration was a bridge from here to here. Ancestral worship is the beginning of everything. It's the beginning of everything. Where it was here and where it has become here is a bridge in between, and we have to find a way to bridge that gap. Not only for them, but for ourselves, because we can forget also. In order to follow the teachings of Muhammad, the first step then is to create desire. Until the agent has been aroused in the black race among the young, knowledge of an ancestral background is impossible today. After the desire of spiritual knowledge above materialism is attained, and its attainment has been awakened, it will activate their intuition. Oh, there's our word, brother. And their faculty within them, and it will enable them to plan and accumulate and begin to build their souls into dynamos activity as taught in the schools of Islamic science. These self-appointed leaders of their mastery of showmanship are frequently able to turn the sacred aside from the right path and lure them into subtle temptation and carnal practice. Due to the fact that in the people, there is almost an universal desire to possess a halo of glory without making any great effort to attain it. Seeking to attain something for little, these efforts, these foolish seekers doom their unworthy and selfish souls to the holy, unnecessary years of darkness. From the latest by Noble Adept High Chief, Brother Martin, December 26, 1976. Thank you.